Hello everyone, you're welcome back to my channel. My name is Joy White. Thank you so much for stopping by. Please, if this is the first time you're checking on my channel, kindly hit on that subscribe button and turn on notification bell so that you get notified whenever I post a new video. Thank you. So guys, in today's video I'm going to show you how to draft a basic bodice dress pattern. That is what we are going to be doing today. So this particular video is actually a request from a subscriber on how to draft a basic bodice dress pattern, so I decided to give it a consideration. So I've gone ahead to section my pattern paper. I'm going to be drafting the front and the back together, and I've also gone ahead to come down on my pattern paper with 1 inch. So now the first thing we're going to do is to take our shoulder measurements. So in taking our shoulder measurement, I'm going to divide my shoulder into 2, and what I have is 7.5. So now the next thing we're going to do is to get our chest line. So in getting the chest line, you're going to divide your bust divided by 6 plus 1.5 plus 1. So I have done that already, and I'm going to be working with 9 inches. So because I'm drafting the front and the back together, I am going to extend the line to the back of our pattern. So now I'm going to go ahead and bring down the 7.5 for the shoulder measurement, and I'll go ahead and connect it. So I've done that already, as you can see. So now the next thing I'm going to do is to take the neck width. So I'm working with a neck width of 3.3, and for the neck depth I'll be using 4 inches for the neck depth for the front. So now I'll go ahead and get my curve ruler, and I'll curve out the neckline. So after doing that, I'm going to go ahead and take the shoulder slope for the front. So I'm going to be using 1.5 for the shoulder slope for the front, and I'll go ahead and connect it this way. So now that I'm done with that, the next thing I'm going to do, from the chest line I am going up with 3 inches, and I will go in with 0.75 for the armhole. And the next thing I will do is to get my ruler and connect it this way. After doing that, I'll get my curve ruler, I'll go ahead and connect the armhole. So guys, this is what we have. So now the next thing we are going to do is to take our shoulder to the bust point. So the shoulder to the bust point I'm working with is 11.5. I'll go ahead and put down 11.5, and the next thing I will do is to connect what I have there. So after connecting it, this is what we have. Now the next measurement to be taken is the shoulder to the waistline, or you can call it the half length. So I'm working with the figure I'm working with is 18 inches for the half length, or from the shoulder to the waist to the waistline. So now I'm going to go ahead and note it down on one side. I'll take the tape to the other side and do the same thing as well, and then I'll get my ruler and connect the lines together. So after doing that, the next thing we are going to do is to get from the waist to the hip line. So we're going to be taking from the waist to the hip line. So now I am going to use 9 inches. I'll place my tape on the waistline and mark 9 inches downward. So I'm trying to get the hip line. So after marking 9 inches downward, I'm going to use my ruler to connect what I have. So now we have been able to take our measurements. So the next thing we are going to do is to impute all our measurements. So the bust divided by 4, we are going to put it down, and I've done that already. And on the waistline, I'm working with waist 35. So now I'm going to put down 8.75, and on the hip line I've done the same thing as well. I've noted down the hip measurement. So now we have not added our dart yet, so take note of what we are doing. So I'm going to use a broken line to connect what I have from the hip to the waistline, and from the waistline to the chest line. So I'm using a broken line because this is not the actual line we are going to be cutting on. So now I'll go ahead and label my pattern paper, and that is the hip line. So this is what we have for the basic body for the front of our dress. So now the next thing I'm going to do after doing this is to come over to the back. I'm going to come over to the back because, like I said earlier, that will be drafting the front and the back together. So I'm going to come over to the back and take the shoulder measurement. So I'm still working with a shoulder measurement of 7.5, which is 15 inches. So now I'm going to go ahead and connect what we have. So I'm going to go ahead and connect it, and after connecting it, I'll be taking the neck width. So the neck width I am working with is 3.3. I'll go ahead and note it down. And for the neck depth for the back, I'll be using 1 inch. You can go ahead and use 1.52 inches is actually okay. And then I'll get my ruler and connect the neckline for the back just the way you see me doing it. I'll go ahead and connect it. And after connecting it, the next thing we're going to do is to take the shoulder slope for the back. So in getting the shoulder slope, I am going to be using 1.25. I'm using 1.25 for the shoulder slope for the back. So I have done that already. And the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to place my tape this way. And then I'll go ahead and divide what I have there. So on that midpoint, I will go in with 0.5. I'm going in with 0.5, and then I will get my ruler and connect it this way. And after doing that, I will get my curve ruler and connect the armhole. So I've connected the armhole, and this is what we have. So the next measurement we are going to be doing is to get the shoulder to the waistline. So I want to mention something here, because this particular subscriber says she doesn't understand how to get the difference between the front and the back. So what you need to do is to tie a tape around, or a bias around your waistline, and measure from the shoulder, from your front length. You measure from the shoulder to the front length, and you measure to the back half length as well. So whatever figure you have is what you'll be using for the difference between the front and the back. So but because this is just a basic body dress pattern, a basic dress pattern, I'll be using 1 inch as the difference between the front and the back. So now I took 17 inches for the half length for the back. So now I'm that half length, the waistline, I am going to go down with 9 inches to get the hip line for the back. So I'm noting down the 9 inches, and then I will connect what I have. So I've done that already. Now the next thing we're going to do, we're going to be imputing our measurements for the back. So but before I impute my measurement, I am going to tighten the waistline. I'm going to tighten the center back. So this is what I'm going to do. I am going in with 0.75 to tighten the center back. So now, but I want to mention something. For someone that is very curvy, you can use 1 inch for the back tightening. You can use 1 inch for someone that is very curvy. So now I'm going to go ahead and connect it this way. Done that already, and now I'm going to be taking our measurement. So this is how I'm going to place my tape. I am not going to start my measurement from the end of my pattern paper. No, I'm going to start my measurements from where the contoured line that we have at the center back there. That is where all my measurements will be starting from. On the waistline, I'm doing the same thing. And then the next thing I will do is to go to the hip line and take my hip measurements there, which is 11 inches. And then I will go ahead and use a broken line to connect it. The reason I'm using a broken line is because this is not the actual line I'm going to be cutting on. Okay guys, so this is what we have for the upper torso of our basic body without having what a dart on it. So now at this point, we're going to be imputing our dart on our pattern. So now the dart I am working with, which is what the nipple to nipple measurement is what we're using, is 8.5. So when you divide it into 2, we'll be having 4.25. So I'm going to go ahead and note down the 4.25. So from the waistline, I will go down with 6 inches. 6 inches, that is where the dart will stop. So now, and I'm going to do this other thing. I'm going to come down from the bust point with 1 inch. I'm coming down with 1 inch before I note down where I want to put my dart. So I've done that already, and the next thing I will do is to get a straight ruler and connect what I have. So after connecting it, the next thing I'm going to do for the dart leg, I'll be using what 0.5 on both sides, which is 1 inch. And then I'll go ahead and connect the dart leg this way. Can you see what I'm doing? I'll go ahead and use my ruler and connect it. So now that I've connected it, this is what it's looking like. So now we're going to be having a side bust dart on this our dress pattern. So I'll go ahead and use 1 inch for the difference between the front and the back. And then the next thing I will do is to come out from the bust point. I will come out with what 1 inch from the bust point. Here we have our dart. I'm going out with 1 inch, and then I'm going to divide it into 2, which is 0.5, and connect it this way. So after connecting it this way, the next thing I'm going to do is to pick one of the dart leg on this waistline. I'm picking one of the dart leg and I'm going to bring it out this way. So the essence of doing this is to have what a very snatchy or fitted, that snatchy effect on the waistline. That is why I am using one of the darts. So when you make your outfit, it comes out what's better and what's giving you that snatchy effect on the waistline. So now I'm going to go ahead and connect it. So this is going to be the actual line that we are going to be cutting on when we are done drafting our pattern. So now this is going to be the actual line. So now the next thing I'm going to do is to come over to the back. I'll be doing the same thing for the back. I am going to take the dart measurement for the back. So now I'm going to go ahead and put down what the 4.25 that I'll be using for the dart, and from the waistline I will go down with 6 inches from the waistline, and I'm going to come up with 6 inches as well, which is 12. So now I'm going to note down what the dart points of 4.25, and I'll come up down. I will note down the same 4.25, and then I'm going to use my ruler to connect what I have and connect the dart. So I'll be using 1 inch like I did in front for the dart leg. So after doing that, I'm going to go ahead and use my ruler to connect what we have. So I have connected it and this is what we have. So I'm going to pick one of the dart leg and bring it out this way, just like I did in front, and then I will connect it from the bust point to the waistline, and then I will take it to the hip line. So now after doing that, this is what we have. So this is going to be the actual line that I am going to be cutting on when I'm cutting what this pattern paper. So this is what we have for the upper part of our basic body. Now we have imputed our dart. So this is what you have for the upper part. So now I'm going to use a marker pen to highlight on it. I've done that already so that it becomes what visible for you to see. So now the next thing we're going to do, we're going to come over to the what skirt part of our dress. So here is what I am going to do. I'm going to go ahead and measure out what from the waist to the knee. So I'm going to note down the figure I need from the waist to the knee for this gown that we are working with, this pattern we're working with. So the what I'm using is 24 inches from the waist to the knee. I'll go ahead and connect the lines that I have there. So after connecting this, the next thing I'm going to do, I will go ahead and take the full length of what the dress I am working with. So the pattern paper is actually the full length of the dress I am working with. So this is what we have. So now on the knee line, here is what I am going to do. I will go up with 2 inches. 2 inches, going up with 2 inches or 3 inches is actually okay, depends on how you want your dress to look like. So I'm just going to go up from that knee line with 2 inches, and then I'm going to go ahead and connect it. So this is going to be where I'll be placing what the knee circumference measurement is, where I'll be placing it. Okay guys, so at this point, if you are going to be making a basic dress pattern that is without any form of tightening on the knee line, this is what you are going to do. You are just going to go ahead and put down the same figure you have on the hip line. So this is what I am doing now. I'm putting down the same figure without what having any form of shaping on the knee line. This is just a basic dress without having any word shaping or any tightening on the knee line. So if you are going to be making a basic board dress or a gown, this is how you are going to do it without having any shaping on the knee line. But because we want to tighten the knee of our dress, here is what I am going to do. I am going to measure what I have on the hip line, which is 11 inches. I'm going to go ahead and remove 1.5. So when I remove 1.5, I am going to be having 9.5. So I'm going to note down the 9.5 on that knee line now that I have taken it or taken up. So 9.5, I'm going to note it down, and then I'm going to use my ruler and connect it. So can you see what I'm doing? I'll connect it, and the next thing I'll do is to take it from that point to the hip line. So this is going to be the actual line we're going to be cutting on. So I want to quickly explain something. on this knee tightening. So it depends on how many figure you want to remove from your hip to tighten the knee. So the hip measurement I'm working with, the circumference is 44 inches. I removed 6 inches, so that makes it 38 inches. When I remove 6 inches, so I use 38 inches for the knee circumference. So but for some persons who want it very fitted and tight on the knee line, you can go ahead and remove like 8 inches, so that will give you like 36 inches on the knee line. So you'll be having 9 inches on the knee line. So but this is how I want this particular dress to look like. So now I'm going to come over to the back and measure out what I have from the waist to the knee. I will note it down. So after noting it down, I'm going to use my ruler to connect what I have, just like I did in front. So after connecting it, I will still go ahead and go up with 2 inches, because this is the same figure I used in front. So I'm going to go up with 2 inches from the actual knee line, and then I'm going to connect what I have. So I've connected it, and this is going to serve as our knee line. So now for the front and the back, we're having a difference of 1 inch. So that is why I noted that down, so that we're not cutting the back to the end of our pattern paper. So now I'm going to place my tape this way. We're going to be contouring the center back. So I'll be using 1.25 to contour this center back. So for someone that is very curvy, let's say for hip 50, hip 52, hip 48, you can go ahead and remove 1.5. You can use 1.5 to contour the center back, but I'll be using 1.25, and this is what I'm going to do. I will connect it this way, and then I'm going to get my curve ruler. So this is how I'm going to place it. I am going to place it this way, and then I am going to connect it to the hip line. So this is it. We have been able to do contour our center back. So this is how yours should look like. And then if there's any sharp points that you're having there, just go ahead and use your curve ruler to blend it. So blend the front as well. Any sharp points you're having, you just use your curve ruler and blend it. So now the next thing I'm going to do is to note down the knee measurement, which is 9.5. I'm going to note it down, the same figure we used in front. I will note it down, and then I'm going to use my ruler to connect it. So I'm using the straight ruler this time around to connect it, and I connect it to the hip line as well. So this is what we have for our basic bodice dress pattern. This is how yours should look like. Can you see it? We are almost done with what we have been drafting. So now at this point, you are going to, all you need to do is to cut it out and go ahead and place it on your fabric. So this is how to draft a basic body dress pattern. So I'm going to go ahead now and cut it out. So before I cut it out, finally cut it out, I'm going to tighten the shoulder. I'm going to tighten the shoulder. For the front, I'll go ahead and tighten it using 0.5. I'll be using 0.5 to tighten the shoulder, and for the back, I'll be using 0.25 to tighten the shoulder for the back. So this is what you should do for your, although this is actually optional, you can decide not to go ahead and do this. So now I'm just going to go ahead and cut out what we have been drafting, our basic body dress pattern. I'll go ahead and do the same thing for the back. I'll go ahead and cut it, and then I'm done with it. This is what it's looking like, guys. So this is the center back, and this is what side back. So I'm just trying to label my pattern, although that is not really necessary. So now this is what your basic body dress pattern should look like when you are done with yours. So you just have to note down the point where you have the dots. You note it down. So now when you close this side dart, your pattern, your front and your back pattern will match up. So you just close the front dart and also do sew in the dart you have on your dress. All you need to do at this point, if you want it to be a basic body without joining on the waistline, you place it on your fabric this way and cut it out. But if you want to have a basic body with joining at the waistline, you need to do slash your pattern on that waistline. So this is it. You go ahead and slash it. So now this is what our pattern is looking like. I've just closed the side dart, and I'm showing you that everything, after closing the side dart, everything what matches up: the waistline, the hip line, the knee line, and the full length of our gown what matches up after closing the side dart. So okay guys, so this is what we have for our basic bodice dress pattern. As you can see, we have been able to do what, contour the butt area, and it's giving what a perfect what look. So this is what we have for our basic bodice dress pattern. So please, if you find this tutorial helpful, don't forget to hit on that subscribe button and turn on notification bell so that you get notified whenever I post a new video. Like and share our video, make your comment. Till our next tutorial, we'll be doing something else. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.